in a nice way. Turn that ringer off. Hey, come on. Hi, everyone. Marianne, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you want us to just get started? Were you recording this, or is this?
Yes, it has. I'm sorry. We are live on YouTube.
Okay. Hey, come on. Hi, everyone. This is Angela B. Marianne, are you there?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, did you want us to just get started? Okay, well, hi, everyone. I think we're ready to roll here. Trying this from our lake home in front of our fire. Nancy and Don Carson, just thought we'd share a little bit of our perspective on this incredible industry and you know, what it might take for you to be able to do what we've done, which has been in the cracks of our lives, find a way to fit this in. As Nancy's getting attacked by our 4-month-old little Harley puppy. I'm gonna bring it over here, see if I can get him to settle down a little bit. Nancy, say hello.
Hey, everybody. I guess this is the true nature of home-based business, right? If we put him in a box, he's just gonna cry and whimper and make too much noise.
So, you know, we started in this industry different times during our marriage. I mean, we've been together almost 25 years. This summer will be 25 years. And, you know, throughout that time, we've been in different traditional businesses, mostly Nancy being more of a stay-at-home mom, right? I mean,
primarily,
you know, I traveled around the world, did all kinds of things that were very successful. It gave us a very nice lifestyle. Of course, the last couple of years have been interesting for most people in terms of trying to find out what they can do in the cracks of their lives and trying to find that sort of extra cash flow vehicle without having to put out a lot of risk. And, you know, we're no different. I mean, we've made millions of dollars in things we've done. And, but with that, you acquire things. And, you know, the comment we wanted to bring about today and just discuss with you as a couple is what you do with your strengths to be able to build a team, number one. And number two, how you can support each other when one's down or one's up in terms of their emotions and or strengths. You feed off that. And so for Nancy and I, we found a really good combination of just being enthusiastic, being real, and really the real side of it comes from, you know, you being a small town person. I mean, you came from a small town up in northern Manitoba, population 5,800 people maybe, and you always tell that story about being real and what that means and how that really crossed over to our network marketing and business and how that positively affected where we went right at the beginning of our journey. And for all of you in the different companies you're in, I mean, that really is true for all of us. It's finding that real story and sticking to the truth. So maybe I'll leave it with that.
well, for me too, we've all met couples that have been in all kinds of different industries, whether it be traditional, MLM, otherwise, that feel comfortable with the hype. And that was basically the thing that I didn't feel comfortable with. I couldn't say anything that I didn't believe. I couldn't say anything that I didn't feel about whatever products that we were utilizing at whatever time in our lives. So because of that, because Don's background was in sales, there was oftentimes people would ask Don what we were doing and he would enthusiastically explain, and then they would turn to me and they would say, but Nancy, what's it really like?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's just the difference. But the secret is that your enthusiasm, because you were like pants on fire. Oh my God, we got the best thing ever. And then me being like just the reality check. Yes, it is life-changing. This is what it did for me. Just bring it down a little bit and say, this is my experience with the product. And you would be, yeah, and it has magic beans in it. And
Yeah,
I would
whatever.
be like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know what's in it, but it was always just my experiences. So
yeah, so if you're in a service type network or if you're in a product-based network, at the end of the day, selling people on fluff doesn't work in today's world. And part of that is because of social media and the ability for people to do research. So the first tip we would say for all of you is find what's real to you and stick to that story. Because at the end of the day, your story is indisputable. I mean, there's no question, you know, stories sell and facts basically get to the point where you have to get too detailed. If you get too detailed and dig in behind the scenes too much, you're missing the picture. The picture is what you see here, a lifestyle, a concept of two people enjoying doing something for the first time, by the way, in our married life, in any direction, business-wise, at the same time. And that's been fun. And I think that's really, you have a traditional space that got challenged during the last 19 months being in the restaurant and winning pavilion business, getting shut down, in and out and in and out. So you firsthand saw the risk of business from that standpoint. And folks, for those of you that know anybody in the restaurant industry, go and support them now. They need your support because, we saw it firsthand. We would have food for a party set up in the fridges, and then they shut us down on a Friday, so that food went bad. And of course, that was a further detriment. And that went across the globe in that industry. And so you saw it firsthand. And,
Well, and I remember being so thankful for our residual income that we had already built, that we had laid the bricks for, that we had built the stones for. So even when we were in that situation where we had to step back and everybody had to stay at home, we could still know that on Friday our phone would bing and that residual income was there. It was something that just really gave us peace of mind. There's no other industry out there that does that.
Yeah. Cash flow is king. We've all heard that expression, but I don't know if you really understand that expression. Those of you that are maybe watching this, maybe, or been invited to it for the first time on John's Zoom, that regular interest rate that we used to get on our money isn't really there in a big way. So even having money on deposit, if you do, you're earning nothing. And so I always share with people, and again, take a look at us as a couple. At any time during the year in our traditional businesses, we'll have 150 employees spread out between your company or my company, and we're busy. I mean, we have 2 kids, and especially when we started down this adventure again, because we got out of this industry for a lot of years for lots of reasons. But to get back into it, say 6 years ago, which is about the timeline, and to be as busy as we were, we would be the perfect example of somebody saying to you now, if you're inviting them, hey man, I'm just too busy. I have no time to fit that in. That would have been us. I mean, at that time, our daughter and our son were still in high school. She was playing a lot of high-level volleyball. He was just so busy, a kid wanting to be so outdoorsy, and we were busy between business and kids. It was insane.
It was a love of products that drew us back to the table. I'm just watching our dog decorate our Christmas tree.
Hey, but that's real, right?
Yes.
Hey,
Sorry.
stop it.
It was a love of products that brought us back to the table, because I find that when you have an experience with product and you're passionate about it, you want to share it with everyone you love. And there's just no way that you can avoid doing that. That's why we always say be a product of your product.
And remember, the products that you are representing don't have a story. Yeah. The story comes from you. You're the storyteller, right? So, and remember, lots of the companies that you represent have products that maybe have tried the traditional distribution method. They've tried to put that on a shelf and sell it. And the problem with that is it doesn't sell. Why? Because it's got no story. So Nancy, I mean, you've always promoted, the learnings and the doing, but don't get too technical. Don't get too involved in what's really in whatever it is you represent. Really get into what it is that is going to make them see that you believe it is what you're saying.
Well, and the other thing about science is, I mean, you can be a know-it-all about everything, but not everybody can be. So your best, you can be intimidating. If you talk about too much science, then people will say, well, I don't think I can do that. But if you just talk about your experience with the product, then people will say, oh, well, I can do that. It's duplicatable. Right. If you get too scientific and you use verbiage that is overwhelming, then people can't see themselves in that role. But if you stay true to your story and just talk about your own experience, and honestly, everybody that I've ever talked to, they want to know what the product does for you. They want to know what the experience does for you. They want to know what this is going to do for them. So they see themselves in whatever your story is.
Right.
And that seems to be the tipping point for making decisions that way. And it's duplicatable because people can be a product of.
So as we say, products find a story, and I mentioned cash flow. The thing about this industry, which is fascinating to me, is just how little money is needed to change people's lives. We came from a situation where we sold one of our companies to a traded New York Stock Exchange vehicle, made X number of millions of dollars, and then bought a couple of companies, sold another one. I've had a number of years of struggle with one of them, to the point where at times it was kind of like, I got to give this up. This is going to take everything that I earned in those other 20 years away if I don't. But my belief, my commitment never wavered, that I knew I was on the right track by kind of tweaking the original company I bought into a different kind of a message. And so I wanted to stick to that plan. And I think that is kind of part of what we're trying to share with all of you is, first and foremost, go after busy couples, because they'll find a way. There's no question. If they're going to be,
the cracks of your
they're going to
life.
fit in the cracks of their lives. They're going to find a way to share their space. So if Nancy and I said, listen, we're going to do this, and we can't all be always on a Zoom together, one of us or the other can support that time. We can commit as a couple to the weekly activity we're committed to. Now, after that, really you have to look at what it is that you're trying to accomplish here. Is it a product, a product result you're looking for? Great, that's perfect. If it's cash flow, well, then one of you has to really understand the benefits of that compensation plan in your company. And for us, we never dug into the comp plan per se, and that's our tip to all of you. The company is going to handle that. Whatever company you're involved with, they're going to handle the backing of the compensation plan. Nancy is the first one to say she doesn't get the comp plan, right?
It's not something I'm passionate about. I mean, we're in a relationship-based company, and I am passionate about the people. I would say the most rewarding thing that I've taken from this industry is the incredible, fantastic people that we've met along the way. I mean, they've colored our lives with experiences, and we've made family out of friends. I mean, there's not a lot of industries where you get to do that, where you're drawn with like-minded people that want to move forward. It's like no other industry. And it's the most amazing thing for me has been the personal growth with a paycheck. We hear people say that all the time, but for me, I got so much value out of becoming a better person based on the people that I surround myself with.
Our relationship grew a lot throughout this last 6 years as a result of you supporting me supporting you, and pushing each other a little bit more into strengths that maybe we had or weaknesses we had to help.
Pushing or pulling the carpet out from under.
Or pulling the carpet from under. So when Nancy talks about a paycheck, no, you don't earn money as a paycheck from these companies. You earn money in terms of a cash flow vehicle as residual income. Most of the types of comp plans will give you something either once a month or every 2 weeks or once a week. And the way to look at this, though, is back to that initial comment I made about interest. 2%, 1% of $1 million is only anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a year worth of money, which you might call residual. If that was interest earned, go ahead and divide that by 12, divide that by 52 weeks, and see how little that is. And honestly, that can change people's lives. Back in 2008, they said, the recession that hit the US, it was about $280 that could have kept you out of bankruptcy. So stop thinking as you enter this industry that you have to help somebody make, $10,000 or $15,000 a month, or think that you're not successful unless you're a six-figure earner, whatever that means to you. It could be, somebody that says, I'm making $100,000 a year, or can you do that in this industry? There's people making millions of dollars in this year, but the real truth of the matter is helping more people make some money more often is the magic of the industry. And for Nancy and I, we've seen that firsthand. We've seen people just want to pay for their products with their residuals.
Not everybody's dream is a yacht. Some people just want to go through the grocery till and know that they can buy everything in their basket. I mean, it can be a real difference maker for people and lifestyle and what they're capable of doing. Some people just want to do it to have some extra money for their kids to play extracurricular.
So don't put in their head what they want. It's their why.
Their dream.
Once they figure it out in their world, what they're looking for, you can point them in the direction. They always say, once you know why, the how is fairly straightforward. We can show you how, but you have to know why you want to do this with us or whoever it is that's going to introduce you to whatever company you're involved with. The real magic, though, is to get them a realistic timeline of what they can accomplish in what they want. Because the real problem in this industry, and I think the math really arguably could be changed if we all set the ground at a level playing field day one, saying, here's what we should expect in month 1, 2, 5, 6, 12, whatever. When you start seeing people out of the gate say, I want to quit my job in 3 months and go full time here, yet they've worked in that job they're in for 20 years and they're earning whatever it is they're earning, how realistic is that? I mean, they had to go to school in many cases for 1, 2, 5 years to get an education, to get a degree, to get a career. And then they see that career as something that's dead end because they're not getting any accumulated of wealth. They're making enough money, but there's not enough month at the end of the money. So they're saying, man, I got to find some cash flow. That's us. We can find cash flow within this vehicle if you set a ground rule down to say, hey, if I could make an extra $200, $400, $600, $800 a month, would that be good? And could that help you in your career for advancement? The advancement comes from that extra cash flow. Right away, you gave yourself a raise, even though you stayed in the same business, the same job. So slow down, enjoy the journey, and understand that you've got to develop your story and become very believable on the fact that what you're saying, you honestly do truly believe. So before you say anything to anybody, go look in the mirror, tell your story to the mirror, and ask yourself if you believe what you just said.
There's other people too, though, that aren't ready, that haven't had a product experience, or they haven't had any experience in the company. And that's why it's so important to plug into your upline. I mean, whoever it is that's already had that experience, whoever has already had some product experience, and all you got to do is bring someone to the table and they can tell their story, and you can utilize that tool for the longest time until you have developed your own story.
Yeah, and as you see people leave this business or quit or come back or try to find a shiny object and move to a different company, it's their story that wasn't on the right playing field out of the gate, or it's their goals or timelines that weren't really in the right sort of path of the calendar that was realistic, and it wasn't you. All you can do is point them in the direction and be there for them. As Nancy said, third-party validation is the magic to this industry. We've heard this in every training we've ever attended. At the end of the day, the other person's story is way better than yours. I mean, if you had to ask one of your girlfriends you went to school with to do what we would call a three-way call with you as your expert, you look behind the shield to see, hey man, I saw her with a lampshade on her head as a kid. I mean, I'm not sure that she's as credible as I think she is, but here's the thing. The other person on the other end of the line has no idea that relationship you had as a kid. They see you as opening the door to somebody that you trust to share your story. That's the magic of third-party validation. Don't ever sell short the fact that the person you have tell their story on your behalf knows less or more than you. The fact is, whoever it is that's going to be introduced to whatever it is you're sharing is going to feel better that you're just not trying to sell them. You're trying to share some sort of communication with others with you and bring them into a group. And here's the magic of that whole picture I just painted. People want to be part of something that others are part of because they feel that they're missing out of a positive experience. And I got to tell you, folks, the last 2 years, we've all been, shackled with a lot of in and outs of positive experiences, negative things. Can we or can we not? And 2022 is going to be a slingshot year for all of you. I mean, really, realistically, if you do the math of what happened in 2020, then 2021, where we are now, heading to 2022, I honestly feel, and everything I'm reading, all the research I've done, and I'm a numbers person, 2022 is when people are going to get back into this industry in a big way and want to grow it because there's so many people. Nancy, you did some research on what's happening with the people that are staying at home now.
Well, they say 6 out of 11 just loved being at home so much that they're looking for an industry to stay in that position. So that lets you know, I was telling our teams all the time, I said, this time is like no other time that we've ever experienced. People are doing everything on Zoom. They're meeting with their lawyers. They're meeting with their doctors. The way that you utilize online media, social media has been optimized in a way that we've never seen anything like it. So people are familiar with Zoom as a forum. People are familiar and that people are doing business. They're talking to every business on that forum. It's less taboo than it ever has been before.
And this industry has kind of gone back to being sort of like a chosen industry. And the way I look at it from a business perspective is it's nothing more than another form of distribution. I mean, you've got the types of things that you've been used to all your lives, going to a store and buying something, maybe buying something off an infomercial or buying something online. This is no different. It's a person sharing their story, and a distribution channel comes to whatever that company is. So, what you have to do is kind of follow what we've done, which is find our strengths, support each other, and push that person out the door when they need it, pick them up when they need it. And I often need it, and that's where you come in. But again, you will be the first person to chat with another couple that we are involved with, and be the person that they'll turn to because they feel she'll tell the truth. And it's not that I lie, it's just that if you come across as the most
overly enthusiastic,
it can be too much selling, right? And that's just me. I'm naturally nuts, right? I just got that energy in me. My friends have always said, like, where do you get that energy from?
I actually describe it very much like a golden retriever.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, squirrel brain. Maybe it's that ADHD thing or whatever. But folks, find your strength as a couple. This kind of note today was to kind of share with you what it is we've done successfully. First and foremost, we don't really concentrate on the details of the products. We concentrate on the story that we have to share from the products. Number two, don't think you've got to learn everything about your compensation plan, because guess what? Your company does that for you. They're going to ship the products. They're going to pay the checks. They're going to make sure that you are satisfied when you return something. And the third thing is, don't be over salesy, right? Don't get that complete, you're stupid if you don't get it kind of approach. In some ways that might work if you have some influence, but at some point you'll run out of the people you can influence. So you've got to get down to the real nitty gritty of network marketing, which is share a story, tell it as best you can in a truthful way, and get ready to help them grow as they learn. Nancy?
I just think that this industry is not like any other industry. It's an equal playing field, like no other. I've never seen anything that allows women to excel so quickly. If you can even find a partner that you want to work with in that scenario, like we're a married couple, but there's lots of situations where I could see an advantage in having two people work within your business so that you could build it, because we can't always be everywhere we want to be all of the time. Right. I guess that's why we build teams. I mean, teams are powerful. They always say it takes one stick to break, but if you put a bunch of sticks together and you try and break them, it's much more difficult. So go out there, build your team, make it strong.
Yeah, and edify people. If you're going to bring somebody into your circle that you want to be a third-party validation, make sure you edify them. Say, this is my good friend. They're doing really well here. I'm excited that they're going to share with them. And edify them. Put them on a platform of some kind that you can say, hey, this is somebody I'm bringing to the table. That's third-party validation in its truest form. After that, folks, I mean, we're just no different than you. We came from the exact same scenario as you did, from $1, never made a cent in this industry, to the point where we are somebody that was in this particular company, rewarded very, very well, executives of the year, worldwide. And we just kind of did that in the cracks of our lives. And, I traveled more to help originally with the business while you were at home doing what we needed to do from the academic side of making sure everything stayed together. But, you'll find your strength as a couple if you don't hold each other back, and Nancy's the first one to remind me all the time that you have to not interrupt each other. If you're going to let each other be the experts in your business as a couple, let that person share in their words and vice versa, because that's where the conflict can come between a couple when you start saying, hey, you're wrong or right. We very rarely tell each other we're wrong in this industry because we feel like the other has their own knowledge of what they're doing, and it's worked for both of us, right? We never criticize each other in terms of this. Now, outside of that, she's all over me. She'll try to chop me across the throat. but inside the industry, we know what our strengths are and we feed them.
Right.
Is that all you're going to say is right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I'm watching your dog completely.
Oh my God, he's destroying
all
Christmas
of our
ornaments.
Christmas ornaments.
We're at our lake home here, and it's funny. It's like the fruits of all of the successes. It's a 7-acre place on the lake, and I often wonder how we maintain these houses we have, but it's the cash flow that we generated from other things that continue this, because folks, don't ever forget, making money costs money to maintain that money you made and the things you buy. So you've got to continue that. People that retire often too early without the cash flow, they have to start selling things off because they can't afford to keep them. That's a reminder when you're building your assets, what it's going to take at the end to keep them. And I would say the most important message that you could learn and earn from in this Zoom and all of the other great leaders from John Haremza that he shares with you is to help others earn cash flow. Not a job paycheck, not a regular full-time income. One day maybe, but don't be too quick to think that way. Cash flow will help you have a lifestyle you can maintain for the rest of your days. Well, I know this is normally the kind of a time that they allow anybody to come on and ask questions, on this type of thing. So, Marianne, that's about 30 minutes. I know you like to keep these to about 35, 40 minutes. We'd love to just sort of open it up and see who would like to jump on and maybe ask a question to the two of us. And we'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on, what it takes to make a couple work in terms of the network marketing industry. Anybody unmuting?
I don't know if it works like that.
I don't know. I thought it did. I think I've seen this before. I know. There you go. Somebody's going to click off on it. Oh, she's mad. She's going after her favorite ornaments now. Folks, anybody want to chime in here a little bit about what we chatted about today? My wife has just taken the dog in the other room and is going to lock him up because he's pulling off her favorite ornaments off of this tree. Go figure. Okay, Marianne, I am not seeing anybody jump in here. Robin, nice to see you on here. It's one face I see I recognize for sure. Anybody else want to come on off mute right now? I mean, folks, we kind of give you a perspective of our life and what it's taken to make this work for us. Love to hear from any of you.
Well, I went ahead and unmuted myself. Hi, guys. So you're talking about couples and working together with your significant other, or maybe it's, your best friend, or I myself am doing this alone. I know that if my husband was home, we could totally rock this business together, because you just listening to you guys talk, like my husband's like, just go out there and tell them da 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 da, like this is going to be the best thing ever. And I'm not like that. I'm a little more laid back. I'm a little more, let me just tell you a little bit about it, or, overwhelm you with my style, so I don't overwhelm you with his style. But if he was to be home to do this with me, I think this would be so much fun. So if you have somebody that is helping you, rock on, rock it out. I will get him into the business soon. I hope, I just got to get him home.
And the nice thing, Robin, is it's not a race for you, right? You're building a business on your timeline right now. And at some point, as your whatever income from whatever company you're involved with starts to go up, and your husband's traveling and comes back home and sees that extra cash flow and starts saying to you, wow, that's impressive. And then says to you, well, what can I do to help you? And then you could give him sort of that step-by-step thing that he might be able to do to share some products, whatever the products are around the globe. I mean, all of those things work. But if you try to get that significant other involved and they're not interested, that can be a push. And that's where people lose that drive out of the gate, where they have to maybe quit because they're not supported.
But they don't, because it's been my experience that the best way to move your partner forward is be successful.
Yeah.
Soon as they see your success, soon as you're earning your products for free, soon as you are not costing money, soon as you are successful, you can draw somebody into the excitement that you see by just being successful. So my biggest, if you have any pushback from your partner in any way, shape, or form, is be successful. Prove them wrong.
Yeah.
It'll draw them in like a moth to a flame.
No question, Robin. And that's probably, I've seen you on these different Zooms, and I know you're focused for your goals and your dreams, but what Nancy just said is probably the magic to the whole formula, which is, prove it. In my past life, and I've told this story on another of these chats when I was on the lakeside before. Right now, by the way, there's 1.5 feet of snow outside that just fell in the last 24 hours. But I think the last time I did this was at the lake. I was talking about how in one of my lives, I came home to an empty house with a fork, knife, and a spoon left. And, there was an individual that told me that I'd never be able to do anything with my success. So quit and just go back and teach. And I think about what I did after that. It fired me up so much. I mean, there was no way I was going to fail. I think that burning desire is magic for any of you that have that situation right now where you've got to prove that this is going to work. You've got to find that burning desire of success in your heart. And as Nancy just said, just go rock it, make it, and just not fake it, but make it and watch that person start gravitating back to you. I think we've seen that firsthand in some of the couples.
You see it even with family members. You see it with, I mean, you can't bring everybody along. We even have family members that are very they don't want anything to do with any kind of outside business opportunity, but that's okay too, because they think nothing of coming out and celebrating with us at our lake house, and we're able to share all the attributes that we have gotten here. And so they don't question us anymore because our success speaks for ourselves. It's not that thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not that thing you do. It's like, wow, the thing you do is doing pretty good.
The thing you do is pretty good.
So it just changes the dialogue, success speaks for itself. So
and before I forget, last week, John had a contest and he sent this to me. Teresa Habakova won some GoPro tickets from John. So if you're on here or Teresa, let her know. Congratulations on John's contest there that she was the winner of some GoPro tickets for the upcoming event that's going on shortly. So sorry to interrupt, Nancy, but I was going to forget that because my squirrel brain, it's like if I don't get it out now, I'll forget about it. So
no, I think that you just got to change people's dialogue, and the best way to change people's dialogue, whether they're coming across as judgmental, is to be successful. And the only way you can be successful is to put your nose to the grindstone and talk to people, because this business is all about people.
Yeah, it is. And again, share your story and the environment you're in. And as you add to your environment, maybe it's a new, purse or a new car or vehicle or addition to your house that comes across as being a reward that you've made from your adventure, share that, because that will add to your story. Somebody's going to be able to see you. I'm saying a new car is maybe a little bit too much for really success, but maybe you went out for an incredible dinner that you haven't been on in a year with your significant other, and maybe that's the story you share. You can say, man, I've been enjoying making some cash flow in my little sideline business, and I was able to take my husband out for dinner last week. And I got to tell you, I was just so thankful that I was able to generate that extra little bit of money. And you don't have to tell them how you did it. You don't have to tell them what it was you did that to get that. You just got to have the story that you are having some success. And to Nancy's point, that story will cause people to say, okay, wait, whoa. How are you generating that extra cash flow? That's a total different approach than saying, hey, I've got gadget 1 that sells for 12 and you can buy it for 8. And if you sell 5 of them, you make enough money to take your husband out for dinner. No, that's selling. You need to build the curiosity from success, and those little wins will probably cause people to get interested.
Yeah, I'm just thinking too, I remember having a conversation with a woman and she wanted it so bad. And she said, I just keep getting my head bunted up against my family. They want nothing to do with what I'm talking about. And I said, well, don't try and convince anybody. Stop trying to convince anybody, because it can be so draining to try and convince people that what you're doing is correct. What you need to do is you need to work with your team, make their team successful. So if you've got one person and they've got 5 people and you work with their 5 people and they're not pushing back the way that your people are pushing back, you make that person successful. That makes you successful. That's why this is an incredible opportunity, because you build other people up and that pushes you that much further forward in your business. You never have to always be the one pulling or pushing the rope.
And don't prejudge anyone. That'd be the final thoughts I would leave with all of you, unless somebody else wants to jump on and ask us something. But you just never know who people know. And when you prejudge one person, you physically cut out all of the people they know and all the people they know from potentially hearing your story. That's really the network marketing industry in a nutshell. Don't prejudge, and remember that a circle of influence is connected to many circles of influence. And so what you're after is to get into that circle. And after you get into that circle, somehow, some way, your story may get into another story. I heard so-and-so say such and such, and the person in somebody else's circle says, wow, I'd like to know more about that. You just don't know who people know. So that's my final thoughts, Nancy. Anything you want to add final before we ask one other person to want to join us for a quick comment? Or
No,
we'll
I
sign
just
off?
say that for me, the magic has been listening. We've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. When you're talking to people, listen to them. They'll most likely tell you what they're looking for in life. They'll tell you whether they need more money, whether they need more time, or whether they need better health. They're going to tell you. It can start as easy as how's the weather, and it's just general
And then you listen.
conversation, and then you listen.
Yeah.
And people will tell you what's going on in their lives if you're listening.
Well, folks, last chance. Anybody want to come off mute, say anything? If not, we're going to sign off here. So go right ahead. Nobody's clicking off. So
John
Hey,
has glasses to
This
Ah.
is Jill.
yes.
Hi. I'm coming to you from Northwest Arkansas. I just want to let you guys know how appreciative of, I am for what you guys are doing. I always love your enthusiasm, your passion. And I love what Nancy said about listening. I read a book about Listen More, and it's a very powerful book that I learned a lot from. And the author was talking about listening to people more and finding out what's relevant, what am I offering them? And be clear about how our products are going to help them, be concise, explain to them. And I've been sharing the products, and now I've been known as a coffee lady in my area. So, we have to share our story and how our products are helping us, so people can know that, yes, there is a product that can help them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, listen more, find out what they're looking for. And another thing I find out that is very useful is selling. I learned that selling is a service. So if we're not selling our products, how are these people are going to benefit from it? So we need to be bold and sell it.
And be proud, right? Whatever that
And
product
be proud of it.
you've got to be proud. You've got to be proud, because people will see right through it if you're not proud of what you're doing. No question about it. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Folks, we are going to go shovel snow. At least I am, because that's a blue job. That's what
After
Nancy
you
says.
clean up after your dog's
After I clean up my dog's Christmas decoration. These, oh my goodness. I don't even. I
Thank you, guys.
Okay, just see, there it is. There it is. It's sitting there. She made this one a little earlier on. So you guys take care. Have a great rest of your week, and all the best. Take care. And if we don't see you on one of these going forward, have a happy holiday one day, whenever that happens, sometime down the road here in the next 30 days or so. Take care.